wins over teams that are considered better than his in a lot of those instances.
And we're about to find out which streak is going to get broken. Is it a DK winning in blue side is no, that's a self-ban.
Yeah, that's HLE pretty psyched
Look
about how
Peanut.
this one's going. Yeah, Peanut's like, oh, but I really want to play Zyra, and the rest of his team are like, oh, thank goodness, you know, the sweat stops dripping.
Okay, and then he says, okay, it's fine, I got my Shyvana, and then the sweat comes back.
Oh no!
As Kalista is going to remain banned. We did get an earlier series, I think it was DK in their first one, where they left open Skarner and Kalista in game 1. And then it was just traded. Not going to be the case here. There will be, I think, particularly for the AD carries, as well as for the jungle, be a real pinch. For support, I think you're always going to be fine. There are just so many.
And it's the light and barrel.
It's the light and barrel.
I'm pretty confident.
And despite all this, do take note, like Alistair, still.
Diana ban.
Alistair and Rel are still available, which is the least interesting handshake you can think of in a game 5, but that might very well be the case.
Yep.
As Diana, we're not going to have Peanut, Diana, and Zakayasu that we have seen before, which didn't win the game where they got the, like, 10k deficit mega combo, but it was still absolutely terrifying. Showmaker going to get his respect. Is it just an early Wukong locking here? That's what I'm wondering. Because Lucid has been playing incredibly well.
I mean, that would also pair with the Ahri that's still up and available, right? But the Wukong,
I think it makes sense with how he's been playing as well.
It's also a Peanut champion, right? So try and limit Peanut's pull. That is obviously what they're going for with the Zyra and the Diana bans. But there is that Jax that was also left up because that was banned throughout a lot of this series. Zeus getting his hands on it, or Peanut. In theory, it's still a jungler as well. So we'll see whether it's going to be flexed or whether that is just Zeus with the carry split push champion towards the top side of the map. And Ahri would also be a lot of power. And with the LeBlanc ban, there's not a lot of those Showmaker champions that pair with the Wukong as well, right? Because now he's kind of priced in to playing more on the AP side.
Is he gonna pick like Zillion or something?
Are we gonna Zillion accelerate a Wukong into like massive carrydom?
It can be worse. You can go Cassidy.
True. Cassidy is an anti-mage champion.
Yeah, I do think we wait, and also you have negative lane pressure, and Ahri is just gonna run the map, so I don't think that is the call. I love this though. The one downside is that there is still potential here for the Jax to not be given over to Zeus, but to swap.
Yep.
But realistically, most likely, this is going to go to Zeus. If Peanut ends up playing it, I don't think you'd be feeling too bad. I think Jax jungle is a lot weaker, particularly into something that is as slippery as the Wukong.
DK have locked 3 junglers. Oh no, never mind. It's not going to be the Elise, it will be the Alistair. And Beryl, I mean...
And now you also kind of force them to pick up Rel, because otherwise I do think that's going to get banned. Even though Rel
doesn't feel like a great matchup,
isn't a great matchup, I still think you take it away just because it's... I think it's the only like proper engage support that's still out. As Peanut
Lee Sin?
No,
Okay.
I think this makes more sense.
Yeah, we got a little bit excited there, and the Rel will be the lock-in. I actually love the mind games of the Lee Sin hover as well,
it's like,
because it could still be the Jax jungle. That could still be on the cards.
Oh, are they gonna ban Swain?
Well,
I know it's not good, and it's lost a lot, but it feels like Showmaker just always goes back to it. Talia is another ban that's...
Well, now that the Gragas exists,
you have to ban
maybe
Talia.
It's the Tryndamere angle.
Oh my god. No, you have to ban you have to ban Talia, right? Talia Wukong when you're playing Ahri. Like, I know that the Ahri theoretically is one of the champions that can get around the E relatively well, but playing Rel and Jax into Talia as well.
I mean, you can get around the E bit. The rocks are very annoying.
Well, that's what I meant.
Oh right, yeah, sorry.
The rocks. Yeah. But even then, it's also one of Showmaker's comfort champions. It pairs well in the 2v2. As the Ivern, a deep cut. I don't think they're going to ban Lee. I think Peanut was just, they were mind gaming. There's that Talia. And now, what AD carry is Viper going to go for? And what is Amy?
I mean, Caitlyn's still up. Caitlyn Rel doesn't exactly feel the most fantastic, but...
Caitlyn Jinx?
Take it, yeah.
It's not bad.
And DK, that's kind of between a rock and a hard place, right? Because if you ban one of them, then you don't get one of them.
Oh, you
so
don't.
Instead,
you never ban the AD carry. You just take what you can get. There's still Draven is up as well.
I mean, if Peanut, after all this, just plays Jax, it'd be pretty funny. Let's see what Viper's going to do, though. Nothing wrong with just locking in an 80 carry here if he would like to. Misfortune still up and available.
We didn't think about it because we don't like it.
No.
I don't like playing MF into Wukong. I don't like playing MF into Gragas.
Or into Alistar.
The one saving grace is that you have Rel, so that is as strong, I think, as the 2v2 gets in terms of teamfight synergy, in terms of 80 carry.
Oh, that's Draven.
I actually do think Samira is the, if you want to go like alongside what your comp does, I think Samira is the way to go. I do think playing Samira into Jax definitely a high risk thing. It's also going to be a question of mastery when it comes to aiming, executing.
Mel.
We still don't know where this is going. Can also go to bot.
Yeah.
Right? Like I wouldn't mind that one bit. And Showmaker, maybe it is the Tryndamere, particularly with the Mel and the Gragas. Gragas should go at least partially AP when playing into the Jax.
I mean, when you have the both of them, as now, Showmaker's ready to cook. He's ready to cook.
Is
he doing? Are we doing it again? Are we cledding? Is this just going to be like, what is happening?
He's taking him on!
It's the Kled. All right. Okay, Showmaker. We're doing it again. All right.
That can't be good.
Look, I don't know whether it's good, but it's fun. And that is the main thing. As now Peanut's wondering what the heck to do. That's an Olaf. That will confirm that the Jax is going into the jungle. Unless it's Olaf jungle. It's been quite some time. Oh, the Redemption Rush Olaf jungle. I think Peanut was the first one to do it in the LCK, actually.
Yeah, that's the Tarzan special.
Yeah. Oh, wait, no, it was Kanavi over in the LPL.
Oh,
and then
yeah, sorry.
And then Tarzan started it in the LCK. You're right.
But it was Kanavi. Yeah, good catch.
That was back when Tarzan was still here, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think that was during the Griffin days. As I do actually think this is, even though Zeus had a really good game on the Olaf, I think him piloting Jax, oh, they're going to swap anyway. That also makes Shiwu's life a lot worse. Because obviously you are still, I think, going to be fine when it comes to trading, but you lose so much of your value. One of the big things is that you actually win lane against Jax. You're able to outscale him as well. Particularly when you go AP, there's also the question of what do they do against Olaf? We saw T1 have this issue, which is why the Olaf actually got banned together with the Anivia in Game 5 that Homa played against Gen G, because it was such a big deal. Now, I do think that the DK comp is so much more volatile. So, like, what if Zeus just runs to Mel and kills her? Like, there's still Kled and Gragas and Wukong on your own backline.
Yeah, I mean, when you are just kind of saying, we don't care, let's just run at each other's backline, I think that DK certainly do have some options.
That's going to be this game. That was like 100%. We're just going to bash our faces into one another.
And honestly, that's been the entire series. I welcome even more of it as we have our first bot lane Mel. This is theoretically the more successful version. We'll see whether it is as we jump into the Rift for Game 5. Wow. The HLE fan chant leader guy has lost his voice. Officially,
send it.
You can really feel the passion. It's fantastic. As Showmaker on the Kled. Wow, somewhere there is a Wolf that's just really excited. Wolf used to just play a lot of Kled mid.
Great skin.
Yeah.
Don't even know what it's called, but it's... I don't know anything about Kled skins.
I mean, it's basically just Corki.
There is no way. There's no way that isn't the best one. By the way.
Man, that is very, very cute. Okay.
Look at him. So, if you don't know what Kled does, it's Kibblehead Kled. That's
Kibblehead Kled.
That's perfect. So, Kled basically...
Wait, does Skull have a different name now that he's a doggo?
I don't know. You can still name him Skull.
Okay. Yeah, I guess doggo called Skull.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to do a very quick pointer on Kled if you don't know what he does. Notorious all-in champion. Has two forms, one on top of Skull and one off of.
Yep.
Do they
have different buttons?
Yeah, you have the gun, which is the main thing. And the easiest way to think about it is when Kled is... Ooh.
I think Zeus will still be able to get these. As you can see, the minions got a little bit frustrated at aiming. And so that means that these melees are alive forever.
Yeah.
And he even gets two of them. Oh, a little bit unfair.
We'll see if there's as I say, any potential dive setup, but clearly there won't be because Lucid is on the bot side of the map. But yeah, basically, you're looking for all-ins. the reason that you can all-in very well, outside of just your burst being crazy, is because you have small frames of invulnerability when you switch between your two forms. And his ultimate is a giant Shurelias onto the enemy team.
And it's called Charge.
It is called Charge, which
Atlas has 4 A's.
Which Atlas will yell at some point during this game, ideally.
I have to. It is the name of the ability, and that is my job.
Yeah.
I mean, I skip a lot of abilities.
I'm just also wondering, because I get it with the rest of the comp, right? I get the you want to play aggressive, you want to try and all in as much as possible. But with the minions that's been missing, I'm a little bit worried. The fact that that trade also looked the way that they did, also not great.
The farming of the minions is not quite working.
Yeah, the not, and you really want to hit that chain so you can yoink him back.
Yep.
Get a better trade.
The bear trap on a rope, one of the greatest named abilities ever.
Oh, Cloud in general is great for that, as this is a Gragas, who should be hard to dive here. We'll see if they're going to be able to do it.
Yeah, there's the body slam on cooldown though, as the counter-strike comes in. Shiu going to flash. The Ignite is ticking, and Peanut...
Is dead.
Yeah, okay, he's just going to die. So a 1-for-1, and a teleport is available in 8 seconds' time. Maybe not worth here.
No,
or
I don't think it is, because they also got double sums out of Viper and Delight. So she was just going to be able to TP back her. I think he can be happy with that. Like, he's obviously going to miss out a little bit on XP, but as we can see, you just have to compare him to Zeus. Main thing is that the TP is now gone, as we get this full wave crash, and DK, sure, don't get First Blood, but First Blood, not that big a deal anymore, especially now compared to when it was the full feed, which I think we're all happy that it no longer is.
Yeah, needing to get a few extra kills.
And now Zeus still looking for a lane to call home. Showmaker. This too is
yeah, there's Barrel with the pulverized flash, and the charm goes wide. Lucid's able to pick up the kill, and that is a second one for DK straight after the teleport, and that's the opposite of what happened in the bottom lane.
And I think what happened there is Barrel faked it back on top side, then rotated all the way through the jungle, which is why Zeka thought that he was on the back.
And this is what Mata used to do. He used to say, in like games like this, he would say, give me the Alistair, we will win. And Beryl did this in 2019 as well, over and over again. His Alistair was the best in the league. That was when Mata was still playing, so that is a big deal, because that guy's Alistair was absolutely obscene, even that year.
Showmaker hasn't backed yet, by the way. Did not get the kill, but the kill went over to Wukong, which is also amazing, because I do think, particularly for Viper, the game is how easy and how playable the game is for him is going to be wholly reliant on how consistent Lucid can get access to him in the backline, and whether or not he has his sums. And if Lucid's fed, it becomes a whole lot harder. So we take another look here. I think Shiu is a little bit quick on the trigger there, but not the end of the world. Still ends up getting the double sums out of Viper, and crucially, the ramp up for early turrets is just crazy. And that's kind of what I was expecting, as here we take a look, and there it is, just not ready for Barrow at all. Showmaker, perfect timing there on that bear trap as well. And I don't really think there's anything that they can do. Also very consciously give the kill to Lucid there. Like, that was very obviously deliberate, which I think is saying a lot about how DK wants to play this game out, and that is basically a dream start here for that Wukong.
It's how they always play as well. I mean, it's Showmaker is the guy that supports his jungler. Like, he is, like, there are not a lot of mid-jungle duos that have been as successful when it's the carry is the jungle. And Showmaker always facilitates that. Was the same with Canyon.
Yeah.
And it is now definitely the same with Lucid. And Wukong is a great champion to augment.
And last year felt like both Showmaker wasn't in great form, Lucid wasn't as consistent of a carry, but particularly... And
but Lucid was also playing too much Sejuani and things like this. I feel like they didn't realize that this was actually fine. Yeah, well, yeah, we did. We were yelling at the TV a lot.
A lot. Which I'm sure had gotten old, but this, thus far, anything you can get done with Wukong pre-6, you can be feeling amazing. Like a kill, getting grubs as well. Champion doesn't really come online before you hit level 6. For Hanwha though, none of this is going to be the end of the world, right? Like, yes, a kill on the Wukong is a bit unfortunate, but I do want to highlight the pick potential and the CC that's there for Hanwha is incredible. Yeah. There's also going to be the question of how will aiming actually do anything in fights? Because Mel, to me, is kind of reminiscent of how Caitlyn often... I think it's a lot better now with current itemization and kind of the changes to smooth over a power curve, but really big lane bully. then I think actually quite hard to play in skirmishes, because even with your W, you are quite immobile, right? Like you're an artillery mage, so playing out skirmishes I think is actually a lot harder if Zeka ever gets on top of you, if Peanut ever gets on top of you, even with your W, if they play around it well, it can be really hard for you to do anything. And then late game, you turn into a beast again because you have so much damage available and fights become really hard to play out.
The thing that's better for aiming, though, is the fact that they have so much crazy in everywhere else, right? You've got Kled being a lunatic and bouncing around the fight.
I thought you were talking about the players.
Well, I mean, that's true.
That's true.
The players are being augmented by their champion choices at the same time, though, because it's just knock-up city. Like, actually, everyone has the ability to knock people around, knock them up, knock them away.
And that's Dragon as well. Like, that's another objective going over. And I think Viper has one of the hardest games to play here, because he needs to have a big impact, I think, for this comp to really work. As Shiu is just...
Sometimes
he has a good amount of CDR.
I think Zeus said something about KDA Ari that Shiu didn't like, because he's playing KDA Superfan Gragas. So obviously he said something a bit rude.
Yeah, you have to.
And so Zeus is of course playing Olaf, who is a huge fan of Pentakill, which is just, you know, it's different.
Oh, it's
so it's a fandom off. It's a fandom
that
off.
makes sense. Yeah.
So you can understand
that tracks.
I'd say it was nothing personal, but it was only personal. In fact, it was nothing objectively attempted there by Shiu. It was all just his emotions.
I thought you didn't do lore, but here you are.
I dabble here and there. As we are.
Thank you, Jonas Strong.
I mean, it's just adorable. I find it odd though, because it's like a dog, but it's sort of built like a kangaroo.
Yeah, it is a bit, the actual, it's a bit uncanny valley.
It is a bit weird.
I'm with you on that one.
Well, aiming also is now dealing with a Rel.
Yeah, there's also, which we haven't talked about yet, but this happens in every single Mel intro video I saw. What happens if Viper ults and aiming presses W? Because we know, it's a rhetorical question. It's really bad for Hanwha. Because it does in fact get reflected.
Yeah, and there's actually a lot of abilities that HLE are going to be relying on to sort of throw out as like attempted starts of fights, like charms, like just like undertows even.
Okay, I don't think, Atlas, that sounds like an offensive satchel kind of. I don't think you rebuttal on undertow.
Why not though? What if it is just Zeus running at you? He hasn't pressed ult yet, and you undertow him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm a bit slow." I just feel like that might do some emotional damage. He would then press Ragnarok and kill you. But it could be fun.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe in a scenario where it's only him chasing you, and if you don't, you get chain slowed and die. But still Olaf with Ghost and Ragnarok, so it's...
Yeah, no, I think he's still dead. Yeah. But you can still rebut it.
Possible angle on Viper here.
Yeah.
Even just an ult.
Beryl is making his way up. There is vision.
Yeah, it's because I think it's because the grubs are up. So if just an ult, maybe to try and force out a summoner, but would instead rather save the cooldown to ensure, and it's going to be, Showmaker's going to be ahead of the roam.
Is it time to charge? Are we charging?
Well, they got to contest this, otherwise you give over 6 grubs to DK. And I do think that this is one of the scenarios where DK is very happy for this to go to late.
And they also, they have an incredible split push composition as well. Like, the slipperiness of a Kled is pretty absurd, as Shiu's going to face check. Zeka finds the charm, obviously. See whether Shiu's surviving for a very long time, finds a body slam, but no one else is there. We're just going to be taking grubs. And so 5 grubs have now been taken here by DK. Probably okay with that, as Lucid, he's held on to the smite. And Peanut, he doesn't have his. And so it's just Lucid with 6 grubs. They'll take the feat of strength as well. It is 2-2 as far as kills. But DK, they only need to just grab that next kill, and they have got the feats of strength themselves.
The kill on Shiu is big, though. That means that Zeka is in a much better spot than he was before.
Oh dear. There's the flash out by Pov. And Counter-Strike doing a fair bit of work here as aiming. Looking to come on over. The Make It Rain comes down. He rebuts something. Not entirely sure what it was, but he did press the button. And now Kled is making his way in.
Oh, that's big. Like, yes, they get the flash, but still that's TP invested. The kill on Shiu also means that Zeka's in a better spot. And as mentioned, I think there are parts of the DK comp that skill really well, particularly the Gragas, the Wukong. Kled notoriously does not, as look how long Zeka waits here, right? Actually, very, very patient. Nicely done. I think Peanut used his smite probably on his own Krugs. Maybe not expecting DK to already be there, but not getting a single one is a big deal, right? Like,
Yeah.
gets the empowered, extra empowered grubs for DK.
It's also the first 3 objectives just taken.
Exactly.
One after the other for DK, so it's just a lot of early value in a composition that I think is okay with going late. You're exactly right about the Kled being a little bit of an issue, but you can see just has a tea party, goes home, everything's fine. And maybe this skin actually scales better, just because you don't really want to be hitting it if you are the opponent, because it's so cute.
So we have, on one end, Viper, who I think is going to have a very hard game, but then we have Zeus, who I think is going to be having an amazing game. Because killing this Olaf is actually going to be really hard in fights. There's also Peanut. So much of the damage from DK is going to be reliant on Lucid and Showmaker, who obviously are going to be relying on their autos a good amount. Shiu is, which I actually love, I imagine going Cosmic Drive. My main question is what he goes after that, because he doesn't need to go AP because they have the Mel.
Yeah.
But I do actually think this is the type of game where the extra damage, because these fights are going to be so explosive, actually makes a big difference.
And Zeus dying as soon as possible is one of their biggest priorities.
It's a very big deal, yeah, because the Olaf obviously gets so much extra attack speed as he gets lower. He has the shield, he has his Ragnarok, which now just goes on forever as long as he can keep autoing in fights. And if Shield goes off tank, which again I still think is most likely, and aiming ends up dying at some point, and Zeus, oh, Barrel.
Does have Showmaker alongside as Lucid's still on the Dragon. They're playing keep away.
They don't have that much damage, but I think, yeah, it's a timing from DK is great. I think they're just fine.
And Showmaker is still in this pit. He does need to flash if he wants to exit, unless he just wanders around and tries to avoid things. Hex Tech Soul? That is crazy. Bear Trap on the rope is going to land on the Peanut, but he still has to flash out of the pit. HLE do at least manage to get that. And it's the other tech, the Hex Tech. We've managed to get there. Orcs is still sitting on the couch, pining over a Chemtech Soul. 2 was not enough.
This is my favorite.
Or 3. Was it 3?
It was 3. Yeah.
That's a lot.
I think it was 1 Ocean, and then the rest were.
Yeah, 1 Ocean, the rest of Chemtech. Yeah. So it was all for this, as that is a fair bit of damage here from aiming. Who does have 1 item, definitely a large amount more defensive than anything else. We'll see what he builds as the second one. So far, our Mels have not necessarily found that much success.
I do think that the aiming playing Mel is a really big deal, though, because that was, to me, one of the big things in the Gen G series was the fact that we even saw Ruler hover the Ziggs.
Yeah.
And realistically, Ruler has never in his career shown anything but 80 carries, right? And particularly in a Fearless
1 game of Ziggs and 3 games of Sona.
There you go. Exactly.
In the career that he has where, you know, he won Worlds in 2017.
Yeah, and got to finals in 2016. And, we can make the statement, but I'm glad you acknowledge the technicalities, you know.
No, I mean, I was definitely with you. That's 4 games over his entire career. The entire awesome dude meta just went past.
It might just be a much bigger deal for LCK Cup. Obviously, Fearless is not sticking around for the whole year, so at that point it will be a much smaller issue, but even in the future, could be something to look out for. Looking at the item spikes have been hit across the board, and 2 Drakes again here for DK, I think is going to make the macro from Humble Life a bit awkward.
Especially when it's Hextech Soul as well.
This one is like not even, there's absolutely no chance that you can ever give this one up, and I would like this from Humble Life, trying to get a pick onto Shiu. This is the guy that is now playing a chance, right? Only 17. I know he had nerves still earlier on, but was playing for a shot at making it to the finals of the LCK Cup.
Yeah. And remember, like, the only reason DK here is up is because of Shiu. The only reason they've made it to this Game 5 is because of him. And so maybe that would help relieve the nerves. Because honestly, he's done enough. So now just needs to stay in it alongside the rest of them. And we'll see whether Barrel on his Game 5 Alistair can make these big plays. Right now, he's going to get a Pulverize off, looking for a headbutt, delivers Delight back, but there's the Magnus Storm, and it's Barrel that's in trouble. The Unbreakable Will is going to keep him up, but there's the charge! As Viper will just flash. And so the charge didn't necessarily need as much volume as that. That's fine.
I have to.
Barrel is going in again at about 0 health, and now it's Shiu's turn! The Bear Trap on a rope pulls back Zeka, and they manage to nail the pick. That is going to be feats of strength as well, as a whole bunch of buttons fly to the wayside as Peanut leaps away. DK, that's enough.
He is not nervous.
Absolutely not. There's a bullet time headbutt, pole, Viper punish. finished in an instant. Beryl is going to go down, but you know what? That's his favorite thing to do. As Peanut's going to flash out of the way. Shiu's still on the hunt, though, as DK getting led towards the Dragon Pit. And thankfully for HLE, it's not up for another minute and a half.
And Zeus earlier, he was looking for a lane. Now he was looking for a play. TP's to mid, finds nothing. The funniest part is that despite all that, Humble Life is still ahead in gold. Let's break this down first, but I have something else we need to notice. Beryl going mega aggressive here.
Yeah.
Great use of the ultimate there to ensure that the Counter-Strike doesn't keep him in place. And then here, Showmaker finds the angle. Charge comes through. And most importantly, this play from Shiu, right? Like, absolutely beautifully done. Immediately finds the backline, splits up the fight, and you can see that Humble Life were not ready for this to be a 5v5, because if they were, Zeus could have TP'd way earlier.
And you can see, on the other hand, DK were completely ready for this.
100% committed, as there you go. Beryl goes in. Showmaker probably should have been the one to tech that, but Beryl saw the angle, so of course he's going to go for that.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Beryl's playing Electrocute Alistar, and that is a Hextech alternator in his inventory. So I imagine that he's going to go Rocket Belt and Electrocute Alistar.
Let him cook.
I've seen a bit of this in solo queue as well. I just didn't expect it to actually make it. But that was a great fight from DK. But the actual trade, not that big a deal. They don't get mid lane turret. A lot of cooldowns were used there for DK. And Zeus wasn't in that fight. So I think we need to see another one of these, as the Dragon is now going to be started. Lucid, level 11, has the Cyclone available. They can play for mid, but I don't think they are. I think they're going to try and play for this point. As is the charge going to come through.
Extraordinarily low. They get the control ward. He's into the pit, but he's not going to be able to steal away the Dragon. There's the bullet time. Is Shiu. He manages to find Viper in the backline. It's gorgeous yet again from DK. But look at this Olaf. He's going completely ballistic, but unfortunately not ballistic enough as Beryl. He's got an unbreakable will. He zones away 3. And DK, despite losing the Drake, they win out on the fight. Man, you are so right. Viper cannot play the game.
He actually cannot play the game. No, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. And without the Herald, that wouldn't have been great. But with the Herald being there, absolutely fine. They get the charge on mid. That's 2 turrets. And even though they didn't get the soul point,
and
DK,
that's 6 grub value as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And now with mid lane turret gone, those outer turrets are sure to fall soon as well. And I do think that particularly for Showmaker, being able to get this impact in mid-game is a really big deal for the Cledis. There we can see, even with that fight win, it actually looked pretty good still for Humble Life. And that's because Zeus has just been splitting, right? Like, it really couldn't be more different, because every time Shield keeps going for these big plays, Zeus, in this play he's there, but in the previous plays he was mostly farming as...
Oh my god, this young man.
I know, and there's still no flash available there for Viper, and as long as he doesn't have that, he doesn't get to play the game. Now Shiu does go down, and Beryl doesn't get to extend the play, so Humble Life, again, stave off a worse fate. I don't think Peanut will, though. I think his fate is unfortunately sealed.
Just a little bit. That might also be more money over to aiming as well as
the
this
support ult from Shiu!
This is ridiculous as Showmaker gets in there, and Skull just runs away. And so the Kled is just fine with the aggro reset. Teleport now immediately from Shiu to get him towards that bottom side of the map, catch that wave that's heading in. DK just making the right choices, and as I said, oh my goodness, that Shattering Strike so close. They get the control ward in as Lucid gets doubled up upon with like, using his own decoy.
Yeah, look at my reflexes. That was great. And then just walks back into the brush and just gets shot for 20% of his life.
Wasn't great.
As Showmaker does take the topside play, but that was a big deal. That's a really big gold swing there, because that's top outer gone, no cross map available, and Zeka and Peanut both dying.
And they already had feats of strength, but being able to pick up first turret blood, actually no, they weren't able to do that. They fell down on the bottom side of the map.
No idea.
Peanut was just here.
They must. So
normally we get context.
My guess was that they made just completely misread the tempo. Thought they were on bot side, trying to play for Otacon, and then that was already kind of rough. But then the fact that Showmaker even missing that, you look at this, you're like, I think I'm fine. Thinks Zeka, and then at this point he ults, but it's too late because he's gonna hold the ult, of course, because you don't need it. You can just walk it off. But then the emotional support barrel from across the wall.
There it is.
Oh boy. They don't get the collapse. That is a big cooldown gone, though. So that might... I think Humble Life at some point is just going to have to start going for more desperate plays because Viper, even with Flash, I think still barely gets to play. Aiming is sitting on a sizable gold lead, and with how aggressive the rest of DK has been playing, like, Humble Life do not have the space to actually try and get on top of Aiming.
Yeah. This Mal is, and just quietly sitting 4-0-1 as well, so is really fed in this game. The Gold King himself, a large portion of that 3,000 gold lead, and the dash cannon is done. Oh man, the Rocket Cow is going to be thrown towards HLE in this next team fight, possibly around the Artican, as we can see here.
Ooh, and for Humble Life, we need to get a good 5v5. I think most of the 5v5s have been on DK's terms.
Zeus getting his second item.
Yeah.
Going to be a big deal. As he's going to be going back now. Does he have enough to purchase it?
Doesn't look like
question.
it.
No, not quite. Lucid's going to do it again, as he, of course, knew exactly what was going on there. Peanut just
we're setting up.
Move away.
For a... oh my god, he's behind enemy lines. They're still a turret, though, so it's not as good as it might otherwise be. But they are setting up a good amount of vision.
And with the fact that the inner turret's down, is he even behind enemy lines? Or is that just kind of there?
It's because of the bot lane turret, right? So
yeah.
like,
No, of course.
It could collapse, but yeah, good question.
He just kind of like walks in there because he can. And now Viper feels like he is overextended. And as you say, there is still a turret there. But it still feels like that. There are a lot of bad guys down towards the bottom side.
2 item spikes have been hit across the board for DK. Most are also available here. I think Zeus should have his going into this next fight. He's able to pick up the wave. Shiyu has his as well. Yep. I think Peanut should be very close, but Lucid having Cleaver and Triforce is such an insane spike. And Peanut doesn't have his yet. I don't know. I don't think you have the time now, even with the Hex Gates. I think he's going to need to stay there. Viper going to look for Prio on this bot wave, and there is also Otacon. So this fight, this might be the decider of the series, Atlas, because if you lose this fight, you might lose 2 objectives for the price of 1.
Yeah.
DK should feel confident to try and play towards this Dragon. I don't think you want to start up Otacon, but DK is kind of crazy, so I'm not going to say that with too much confidence.
And look at you. He's off to the side, wanting to make sure he knows exactly when Zeus is going to be trying to make his way in. See, now they're both just facing off. Otacon getting a little bit upset, throwing the orbs around and things like this.
We're looking for Prio. Lucid can heal off of the... Yeah, that's what I was expecting. Just go towards the Dragon here.
Yeah. Definitely feels a whole lot less risky.
Zeka.
Charm. Oh, it's going to be thrown back towards him.
That's rebuttal down, though. That is a decent cooldown.
Well, Zeus is collecting a red buff for the moment. As this Hextech Dragon is going down. Yeah, Showmaker on a bit of a flank angle has the charge, remember. Does want to use that to allow his teammates to enter as well. As Peanut going to leap strike his way out. Otacon's mad at the same time.
There it is.
All right, let's see whether this Olaf can find an angle. He gets in a little bit late. But now Peanut, can you steal away this Dragon? That is the question. Make it 2 apiece, as there is so much damage down onto HLE already. The Dragon down to 2,000, but the team fight could be the problem, as Showmaker is throwing everyone around. The Dragon goes over to DK. There's the rebuttal, and there's the bullet time finally, getting some value. She goes down first. Viper is at full health, as now they're diving forward. They take down the Olaf. Is that going to be enough, though? That's the question, as Peanut fighting against Showmaker, and Showmaker just finds his doggo once again. Climbs on top and takes down the Jax. Zeka now with a couple of charges left, but with 2 left remaining on both sides of the rift, it's the Dragon that turns the fight.
And Zeka really is the one that starts that one up, crucially. Gets the rebuttal out of aiming, and the rebuttal gone means that Viper can finally hit an ult. Shiu also goes for an ult and completely whiffs it at some point here as we take a look. Actually, the damage done really well here by DK to ensure the Dragon doesn't get in flip territory. That ult
Shiu missed every button.
Yes, doesn't hit the mark, and then the rebuttal's gone, which means that aiming can ult, or a Viper can ult rather. Aiming almost taken down, and then obviously does get blown up. Unfortunate stopwatch as well, given the position, but would have died anyway. But then on the flip side, Lucid and Showmaker do so much damage, and this is the core thing for me, with how much damage this composition has. Just taking down the bot laner isn't enough. Just taking down Shiu isn't enough. Whereas for Humble Life, it does feel like if Viper doesn't get that ulti off, and even if he does, the damage feels lackluster.
It's so much about tipping points as well. Like, if Zeus can just run at the backline and kill them,
oh my god,
that will just happen every fight. But if he cannot, it makes this game so hard for HLE, because then Viper and Zeka need to play this game of, we need to get the rebuttal. We need to make sure that Beryl isn't in range. Does Xiu have the cask available? Because if it's yes to any of those things, as there is the bullet time now. Okay, rebuttal does come on through, throws back a few buttons. It's now Peanut. He jumps on top of the Wukong. Beryl going to be taken down as well, as it's now Peanut's turn to go nuts. Zeus will turn up, but Showmaker just gets himself out. Xiu finds a two-man with the body slam, slows them all down. But the fancy footwork comes on in. He's trying to slow Peanut. This guy is so nimble. It is just nutty. Not quite nimble enough though, and now Showmaker could be the one in trouble. Aiming getting on in there. He's got a few buttons available, but now Showmaker, I think, is just going to be lying on the floor. There it goes, and HLE! They finally strike back, as Aiming is still alive, yes. And now he's hex skating the wrong direction. It's still just going to be out of Kano to HLE.
Just as I was about to say, the key thing is the gold isn't that big. It was only a 2K gold league. DK overplay their hand, try to go in on the lights, and Viper is waiting at the ready.
And this, maybe that's what they need to find, is a hidden misfortune, one that they're not actually playing towards. You can see Viper wraps, he wasn't even hidden. He was actually on vision here as Aiming comes over, just not quite in time.
That's what wins this fight. I think, honestly, maybe Aiming has to like flash rebuttal there. I don't know.
He didn't have flash though.
Yeah, I think the core thing was that they just go so deep, and it's to kill Rel. Everyone kind of funnels in. Even here, Showmaker tries to save Xiu, right? And trying to recuperate from a lost play. It worked in the previous one when him and Lucy could do it, but not this time around.
Well, we're coming back in, as this time, Viper is going to be knocked towards the sky. There's the Cyclone. They're both sent home without really getting too much as the charm into the backline, but Aiming goes golden. It's still Beryl. It's going to be taken down. Now Showmaker gets dismounted. Still doing a fair bit of damage now, trying to get back onto Skull, but doesn't manage to do so. As the cask, that's not going to be able to get in the 200 gold he was looking for. And HLE, they only have a couple taking a little bit of a break, as Showmaker and Beryl are dead for quite some time.
Okay, and now they're going to start up Nash, and it looks like DK is just going to give it to them. There are still a good amount of Otacon buffs available. Free, Zeka, Peanut, Zeus, and Hanwha Life. It's the resilience of this team. As we take another look how this situation came to be, I'm not shocked that DK is very happy to just go for this anyway. Beryl rocket belting towards an Olden Viper is exactly what we'd expect. But crucially, with the buff, Zeka and Peanut can play with no care in the world and not caring about their life. Whereas the same can be said. Showmaker obviously has silent. I feel like maybe they could have tried to extend their play, but if they don't hit, then obviously it's a disaster. But now it kind of is too. Now the only thing that DK can look forward towards is wait at this Baron buff, trust that your composition still gets the job done, and obviously play for the Hextech Soul. I think that you might just have to let this one go. And as I say that, of course, they are not.
Yeah, we ain't letting it go. DK,
flash.
If they can actually contest this, though, they are buying some Baron time. It is up for the next 2 minutes. But it does mean that it's going to be harder for Zeus to split things like this.
It's also very hard to keep Lucid out of the pit, right? This is a Wukong with flash.
Yep.
And we'll see if he actually opts to go for this. It looks like, and I think this is the right call. Not going to go. Just clear the waves, push out as far as you can, and don't allow Hanwha to further build the goal lead. Because if Hanwha can find a fight from 3K gold down, that turns it around. You can too. As we've seen this one before.
Yeah, engaging onto Delight. Certainly can be a bit of a problem here. There's the flash forward from Lucid. They get on top of Viper, who flashes away, but Showmaker is lying in wait. Still, they manage to take down the AD carry, but Lucid is going to die as well, and into the backline goes the Olaf. Aiming is going to go golden, but Olaf just changes his mind. He wants to kill Xiu, and he's going to get him. Down he goes. The Mel's already dead, and this is that critical mass that we were waiting for the Viking. They've got Baron. They've got an ace, and it's Game 5 Hanwha Life Esports. They do it every time.
Do not bring this team to 5 games. Do not bring these players to 5 games. Zeus won a finals in 5 games. Zeka won a finals in 5 games.
Viper won a final in 5 games, and this isn't even the final yet. However, it's a 3rd in a row for Hanwha Life Esports, and they'll take it down. This was the team that lost to DK in 3 games in the group stage. We were wondering whether they were going to be that super team that was promised after that. And here in Game 5, they do it again. I honestly thought that DK were so far ahead. Even if the gold remained relatively close, it felt like they had that control. And then Hanwha said no.
Second barrel, you know, a little tap there. And Atlas, this has got to be the final.
Oh, it has to be.
This has to, we have to get a rematch. I don't make the rules.
Oh, man. And who is it? Who's going to pick up POM?
Oh, my God.
We're waiting. We're waiting.
I actually have no idea. I need to think about this for a second. Can you?
Yeah, I can buy some time.
A little bit.
So we had some great plays from all of the players on HLE. In their victories, I think that Zeus played exceptionally well. I think Viper managing to actually win a game on MF in this series is kind of obscene. His Xayah performance in Game 1 was absolutely phenomenal. Delight is always the right choice if you just want to be like objectively correct. But I mean, I think it's an incredibly difficult choice. Yeah,
actually, you know what?
Just concede and give it to Dandy.
Yeah. Oh, I don't. We'll see. We'll see who ends up getting it. It's fine. What a series, man. Oh my God. The final game.
I think it was Peanut, actually.
Being the roller... Oh, yeah, it might be.
I think it was Peanut.
I don't know. I think there were too many smites that Lucid did kind of yoink away from him.
But, like, I don't know, his Nidalee game, the fact that he didn't play Zyra all series.
Well, it did get banned in the final one. So I can't.
He was denied his opportunity.
And for Hanwha Life, it's yet again a story of the resilience of this team, of these players, and of this org in recent times. For DK, it's one of heartbreak. It felt like this was their game, and I do think as we take another look, the actual gold never that far off, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that, as I said, I think that this will be the finals as well, unless Gen G have a massive resurgence, or Nongshim have the craziest run that I've seen in, well, since 2022. I don't expect it to be any other team, but they just overplayed their hand in Hanwha Life. They don't let you get away with that.
Nope. The fact that they strike, they turn on a dime. Man. As soon as you make any sort of mistake, as soon as Shiu misses like some of his buttons, HLE win the series. That's the kind of edge that you're playing on if you want to beat this team.
It's this play right here.
I even think it was the Dragon play before that.
No, because there I think they got the soul point, right? They still got out ahead. But if they lose Otacon, they lose Nash. And then I think from that point on, they don't get to fight anymore.
Tell you what, though. An absolutely incredible series between these two teams. HLE have done it again. Another 5-game banger. And they pick up the victory as this last-ditch effort. They got their target. But this Viking guy just kind of ran at everyone.
It's also the fact that, yes, Viper dies, but he wasn't... Like, we talked about the main point for DK, but you can say the same. For Hanwha Life, everyone else had enough damage as well.
Yep.
I am. Oh, that was a roller coaster of series, Atlas.
This was an absolutely incredible series. Hats off to DK as well. After what was a pretty abysmal Game 1 performance. I mean, I don't think you can really beat around the bush there. It just felt like they were barely even there.
They were not awake.
All the way up until about the 10-minute mark in Game 2. And then Shiu has that moment. And I think because of that moment, we are gifted 5 games and an incredibly competitive Game 5 with a Kled lock-in from Showmaker. We have to say as well, like, Showmaker must have had everything banned throughout the entire series because he played, what, like, Kled and Victor, which he doesn't really like playing, but that's probably the most normal of the picks.
Pantheon.
And then he played Pantheon, and then he played Twisted Fate. Like, this guy's champion pool is absolutely absurd. He played the Rise as well. And, oh man, just another one for the books, Chronicler, as Hanwha Life Esports. Congratulations. They will be in the final of the LCK Cup. First stand, only one best of 5 away. And I tell you what, as far as practice for best of 5s are concerned, I think that they've done pretty well. Zeus, he's going to be the one that picks up player of the match, and I don't think anyone's upset about that. His Olaf, I mean, the scoreline doesn't look great, but we know exactly what he did in this series. His Aatrox, iconic as usual.
Yeah, I don't even know if that was the right. Maybe it was Zeka, but I think I remember Zeka having
I think it
one
was
rough game.
Peanut for me, but only because I don't even necessarily know. Vibes, I guess.
Pick Zyra.
He didn't pick Zyra.
His Maokai was amazing. His Nether
Yeah.
was amazing. Maybe it was Peanut. I don't know.
I mean, it's not only you. There's a lot of people that do the voting, and so therefore, I don't think the responsibility lies solely on your shoulders.
This is how much Atlas enjoyed this series. Is he's not even blaming me for any PLM.
No, I went too hard on the predictions thing, and you didn't even get it right. So I really shouldn't. I shouldn't play you too hard. But what a series!
What a day!
Absolutely amazing stuff. And then it's not even done. We've got Nongshim versus Gen G coming up tomorrow, which is, some of you might be rolling your eyes thinking that's not going to be as much of a banger. That's Kingen. That's Lehens, right? And this is a Gen G that really did look like they struggled, even though it did go to 5 games against Humble Life Esports. It didn't really look like this one, where it was both teams could kind of win. You really kind of felt like HLE had control of the majority of them. Anything could really happen. And I'm looking forward to seeing a Gen G that manages to turn around their performance.
You know what?
Because then what happens?
We get DK Gen G. Oh, it's been so long.
That's what we're talking about. And that is a guaranteed 5-game banger, and we don't even know what kind of crazy picks. It wasn't even Fearless. And we got Kane jungle out of nowhere. Like,
also, I'm pretty sure that's us again.
Yeah, it's completely nutty. But now it is time, I believe, because we're setting up for it, time for the interview with the player of the match, Zeus. We are taking a little bit of time getting there, setting it up.
I'm looking back. I think we have a little surprise. Look at that.
Ooh, is it? Oh, it's the full team. We get the whole game interviews. That's why it's taking a little bit of time to set it up. And then they can have some arguments. You know, maybe Peanut's like, oh man, I really thought that I deserved it this time around. I doubt that that will happen. And I think that they're probably pretty appreciative of just how well Zeus played in this series.
Has been a pretty good addition.
Yeah.
If only we could have seen that one coming. It's a joke. He's really good at the video game. What an amazing series. Game 1 was a bit sleeper. Both DK had not waken up, and then I think they were also, Humble Life was waiting, but the rest.
Yep. But now it is time, ladies and gentlemen, to head towards the interview with the entirety of Humble Life Esports. So take it away.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Jason for the post-match interview translation. We are here joined by the entire Hana Life Esports players and also Dandy, the head coach. Congratulations on the win one more time. After an intense 5-game series, you guys managed to secure a win and advance to the finals. Hana Life seems unstoppable. And today, you have been voting for the POM as well. How are you feeling right now, Zeus? So it's like a back-to-back or even more best of 5 with full 5 games, but I think it's very positive experience for me because we get to, you know, go through all of, you know, thick and the thins, and I don't really mind winning the POM, you know, because I think all 5 members kind of gave their all in order to get the win in the end today. Especially in game number 5, your Olaf was the key to Hana Life's win in the end. What did you focus on playing Olaf? So we had some unfortunate events early on in the games, but you know, we were still grouped up as a team. You know, we knew what to do in order to turn the game around. So we were looking for that one team fight to turn everything around. And you are playing up against Siu on the top lane for the plus Kia, who has mentioned multiple times that you are his idol. How was the top lane matchup? It was very difficult to lane against, actually, you know. He's pretty good. So we're gonna I have a feeling that we're gonna have a lot of matchups up against each other. So let's keep up the good work together. Now you have claimed your chance to become the first ever LCK Cup champion. What is your resolution heading into the finals? Well, to be completely honest, you know, when the regular season for the LCK Cup started, I was not expecting ourselves to make it all the way to the finals, but, you know, throughout this kind of run, I'm pretty confident now that we will be able to become the champion. Peanut, what a thrilling series. How do you feel to make it to the LCK Cup finals? I mean, yeah, it feels nice to be able to make it to the LCK Cup finals, but what means more to myself is that we managed to play 15 games total in the playoffs here in the LCK Cup and made it all the way. Hana Life got the revenge on D+ Kia from the group battle. What was the main factor that allowed you guys to get a win this time around? I would say the abundant experience in the best of 5 series, because we have played 2 best of 5s with 5 games already. We were able to be fully ready and locked in for another one. So this is your back-to-back LCK Summer Finals and then LCK Cup Finals. So you always manage to bring your team to the finals. How do you make it happen all the time? I used to be, you know, I used to be so good at it. And recently I'm slowly getting back there. So yeah, I think that does make sense, you know. Then what is your resolution for the LCK Cup Finals? It's been a while since I played at the finals. So with this, you know, amazing experience with all the 5 members on the side of Hana Life Esports, I want to keep them, you know, keep it going, and I want to make sure that we can also win the finals as well. Zeka, we had some records on the line for Game 5 as well. D+ Kia was undefeated on the blue side, and Zeka, you were on a very long winning streak on game number 5 in a best of 5 series, and now you're on an 8-game win streak when it comes to game number 5. I am very, very glad that I managed to clinch the victory today. I don't think myself is the one that allows a team to win game 5 all the time. I think it's all about the teamwork, so I want to share this credit with everyone else who played with me. How did you kind of concentrate and lock in for game 5? Because you said game number 5 was all about the mental game. Actually, I did not really do a good job when it comes to keeping the mental fortitude, but I think I was getting so much help from my teammates. T1, Genji, D+ Kia were your opponents in the best of 5 formats in the playoffs, and you have played 15 games so far. Very exhausting journey for you, but you always managed to get the win in the end. How is it possible? I think we were able to kind of become better and better because we get to play so many games. I think all the experience kind of built up. What kind of performance can we expect from Hana Life at the finals? No game 5 anymore, please. Now moving on to Viper. It was a tough journey for Hana Life. T1, Genji, D+ Kia. You guys were facing up against the top dogs in the LCK and keep on winning and winning and winning. How did you make it happen? Everyone is so talented on my team. And we managed to keep our focus until the very last moment. A lot of people focused on the bottom lane matchup as well, which means there was so much burden on your shoulder. Are you happy with your performance today? Today, I think it was just okay. You know, it was all right. Because looking at the games that we dropped, I think I could have played better. As you guys headed on to game 5, a lot of thought process must have happened behind the bottom lane duo champions as well. What were you expecting in that game? I was expecting them to play a non-marksman AD bot lane for sure, so we kind of kept that in mind. Now Hana Life secured a spot in finals. Now your potential opponent will be either Nongshim, Genji, or D+ Kia. Who do you think will make it to the finals? Well, prior to today's match, I have thought anyone can make it to the finals because they all look so strong. But after playing up against D+ Kia, I think they are really, really good. You know, I wish we can have another rematch. Now moving on to Delight. You already mentioned that after losing to D+ Kia in the group battle, you guys managed to find the right direction of Hana Life's gameplay and then was able to make so much improvement. So what kind of direction was it? I think our team overall wanted to make sure that we become a little more proactive. You know, we wanted to make a lot of plays and set up for a lot of plays in order to make a lot of stuff happen on the Rift. And it was you versus Delight. You know, Beryl versus Delight. A very interesting support matchup as well. Do you think the draft went as you wanted? Pretty smoothly, I think. I was expecting this kind of a drafting to happen the bottom lane. I think everything went as I expected, so it was okay. And currently, I think supports play a huge role when it comes to the current meta. So what are your thoughts on read on the current kind of game status? For sure, I think as a support, you have to be able to spread your influence and kind of impact all around the map. Then what kind of support play can we expect from you in the finals? I mean, I joke a lot about I'm gonna win this game for you guys. I'm gonna carry for you guys, and in the finals, I will carry my team and bring my team to a victory. Peanut, how do you like that? That's nice. I like that.
자, 그렇다면 오늘 또 특별히 댄디 감독님과도 인터뷰 나눠보겠습니다.
And moving on to Dandy,
감독님 오늘 풀세트 접전
another
끝에 LCK
5
컵
gamer,
결승 진출을
and
이뤄내셨습니다.
Hana Life is
소감 어떠세요?
advancing to the LCK Cup Finals. How are you feeling? I'm very happy that we won another best of 5 series. All the coaching staff and the players worked so hard for this moment, and I am very glad that we managed to pick up a win in the end. Third back-to-back Game 5 series for you guys. A lot of people were worried about Hana Life kind of revealing all of the strategies. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, I think there are some good and the bads when it comes to playing all 5 games, but we were able to get so much high quality experience, so I think that's a win there over there. I want to say to my teammates that you guys are doing an amazing job. You know, whatever draft I bring to you guys, you managed to execute it at the best level, so I believe you guys can do a great job in the finals as well. Lastly, before we go, any message over to the Hana Life fans? When we headed on to Game 5, I could hear a very loud cheer from the fans, so I really appreciate the support, and we will make sure to do our best in the finals as well. Thank you. And that will be the end of the interview from the Hana Life Esports squad, and back to the space. Thank you.
All right, everyone at home, it is our pleasure to welcome on the space. It's Zeus joining us here alongside with Ji-sun for the translations. Zeus 선수, 반갑습니다.
안녕하세요.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to it. Our first question here that we have, the English-speaking viewers would like to know, how have you been settling in with your new organization and teammates, and do you have any funny stories for us with them?
가장 먼저 이제 영어권 팬분들이 많이 궁금해하시는 내용인데요. 새로운 팀 그리고 새로운 팀원들과 어떻게 잘 적응하시면서 지내고 계신지 재밌는 에피소드가 있었을까요?
일단 사실 처음에는 저희가 게임 내적이나 외적으로나 제가 좀 적응하는데 좀 시간이 걸릴 것 같다고 생각했는데 좀 제 생각보다는 좀 일찍 적응을 잘한 것 같고, 그리고 또 사실 강팀을 만났을 때 좀 힘들 수 있겠다고 생각했는데 좀 강팀들 다 이겨가지고 되게 잘 된 것 같고, 생각보다 재밌는 에피소드는 그냥 아직은 잘 생각 안 나는 것 같아요.
누가 제일 적응 잘하게 잘 챙겨줬나요?
일단 건우 형이 좀 맛있는 걸 많이 사줘가지고 맛있는 걸로 좀 플러팅.
Flirting. So yeah, at first I thought in game-wise it would take a bit of a while for me to get, used to the new teammates, also kind of get started. But I think I was able to kind of get warmed up pretty earlier than expected. So that's a win there. Also, I was expecting our team to struggle a little more when it comes to a matchup up against the stronger teams in the LCK, but we managed to beat all of the top teams in the LCK so far. So I think we were able to make a great kind of progress together. So I also asked him who was the nicest person on your team to help you adjust so well and like gel in so well. He said Zika. He was flirting with, by the way, buying so much good food.
He's the...
Taking out for food, flirting to become the best friend.
Yeah, that's awesome. Zeka being the best friend. All right. Next we had, as a pro player, how hard has Fearless Draft been so far for you to adjust for?
선수로서 피어리스 드래프트에 적응하는 거는 또 어땠는지 궁금합니다.
일단 그냥 머릿속으로 생각만 했을 때는 제가 선수로서 좀 자신이 있었습니다. 그냥 하면은 괜찮을 것 같은데 생각했었는데 막상 해보니까 챔피언 확실히 압박을 많이 받는 것 같아서 되게 흥미로운 것 같아요. 재밌고. 네.
At first, when I just thought about it, I thought it was gonna be okay. I thought I could do it. You just get to play a new champion. But when I actually, got into the fearless draft mode, it was a lot of pressure. So I think it's a very interesting change.
May I ask, which one do you like better?
어떤 게 좀 더 좋으세요? 기존대로 아니면 피어리스?
저는 개인적으로 피어리스가 더 재밌고 좋은 것 같아요.
Fearless because it's a lot more fun.
All right. Now, earlier in the season, like you said, it felt like the team was figuring out its identity. Was there a moment where you can remember it clicked for you guys, and what was that moment?
말씀해주신 것처럼 시즌 초에는 좀 적응하는 시간이 필요했던 것 같기도 하고 좀 방향성을 찾아가고 있었다고 했는데 어느 순간 딱 모든 게 잘 들어맞았다. 우리 이제 잘 굴러간다라는 느낌이 들었나요?
일단 그 다전제 첫 판인 T1전 상대로 승리를 거두고 나서 좀 되게 선수들 다 좀 더 팀업도 잘 맞고 잘 올라온 것 같다 느꼈던 것 같아요.
After winning a very important best of 5 series up against T1, ever since that victory, I think our teamwork has leveled up so much.
For today, there were many votes for player of the match. Who would you have voted, and what would your comment be?
오늘 POM 투표가 좀 많이 갈렸어요. 만약에 제우스 선수가 투표를 할 수 있었다면 어느 선수에게 투표를 했을 것인지 그리고 나의 한 줄 코멘트는 무엇이었을까요?
일단은 개인적으로 저는 탑라인의 입장에서 생각해 보면 사실 제가 모든 걸 다 본 상태는 아니기 때문에 왕호 선수가 아무래도 왕호 형이 좀 묵묵하게 좀 자기 할 역할을 힘든 상황에서 잘 해주지 않았나 싶어서 왕호 형 뽑고 한 줄 코멘트는 건실한 청년 하겠습니다.
So shout out to Peanut. Well, as a top laner, I can only speak as a top laner. So I didn't really watch the game whole outside of being a top laner in game. So I can only speak for myself. But I think Peanut did a wonderful job keeping the mental fortitude. Even though he was in some rough spot throughout the game, he managed to make a comeback and do a lot of work for the team. So shout out to Peanut. And my one-liner would be a very hardworking, gentleman.
That's good. Peanut, the hardworking man. D+, you're now the first team heading on over to the LCK Cup. So, I'm sorry, Hanwha Life Esports is the first team heading on over to the LCK Cup. And you said you didn't expect this earlier. So now that you're here, what do you expect?
이제 처음으로 결승 자리를 꿰찼습니다. 사실은 아까 무대 인터뷰에서 시즌 초에는 우리가 결승까지 갈지는 몰랐다라고 하셨는데 이제 결승에 진출하신 만큼 하나생명이 어디까지 거의 우승까지 할 수 있을 것 같으신지 각오가 어떠신가요?
일단 인터뷰에서도 말했듯이 사실 저희가 전력이 아직은 그렇게 많이 안 올라왔다고 생각을 했는데 하다 보니까 좀 생각보다 우리 좀 강하네 이런 생각이 들어서 사실 저희가 여기까지 쉽게만 올라온 게 아니라서 장담할 수는 없겠지만 그래도 제가 좀 끈질기게 할 수 있을 것 같아서 네 좋습니다. 네.
Well, yeah, exactly like I mentioned earlier in the stage interview, we were not expecting this much of a success in the early on the season, but because we thought that we were not at our full potential, but by playing so many games, we kind of acknowledged we're pretty strong, we're pretty good. So I think we will be able to have a great chance, but still we didn't really make it to the finals very easily. We were going a lot of 5 gamers, so I can't really promise or be really confident, but we're going to be very, very strong for sure.
I like that. We have the hardworking man from Peanut, and we have the humble man here in Zeus.
건실한 청년과 겸손한 청년이 한 팀에 있어서 잘 될 것 같다고 하시네요.
And then finally, you have so many fans around the world, especially in the English-speaking world. Could you say any English-speaking words to our English-speaking fans?
정말 전 세계적으로 또 이제 LCK 글로벌 팬분들이 제우스 선수의 정말 엄청난 팬입니다. 혹시 팬분들께 영어로 간단하게 마무리 인사 보내주실 수 있을까요?
Fighting.
See you at finals.
Yeah! 감사합니다, Zeus. Thank you so much, Ji-sun. As it was a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much.